If you were to close your eyes and envision the prototypical Texan, it might look like Steve Payne. Steve, or Uncle Steve, as we call him, is an AR carrying, snake boot wearing mountain of a man with a deep Texas drawl and a sensitive side that might surprise you. Are you ready for an incredible conversation with a guy who has seen a thing or two and has the wisdom to prove it? Sit back and get comfortable because the Fit to Hunt podcast, powered by Wilderness Athletes, starts now. Good evening, Stephen. How are we doing tonight?
I'm good. I get a little echo,
Yeah, the
but
magic
yeah,
the,
everything's
the magic AI will fix that at the end of this recording. We don't need to worry about that. The robots take care of it all now. So,
cool.
all right, man.
Yeah, it's a warm South Texas day, and
Yeah,
I get the pleasure of talking to you tonight.
man. It's been a pleasure. We don't talk to each other near enough. So,
I know, right?
what 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 was your day like today? What have you been working on?
Today was an easy day for me. I had early morning clients. I went up to my mom's. I did a little work on my knife, and I'm making a pair of spurs. I got a new project. I'm working on some spurs, and
Yeah,
then I came home and got prepped for this. So
I don't know how much prep work you got to do with this, but we'll get something going here. So, hey, so you started your career in computers, right?
yeah, I mean, I tried to figure out how many jobs I've had in the course of
Yeah.
my life. I started out, my first real job was hauling hay when I
Well,
was, you know,
yeah.
and then from there, I went to all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I wanted to get married right out of high school. I tried going to college. That didn't work. I went to college one place for 3 weeks. I went to college for another place 3 days. And I decided that I'd had enough school. So I went to work for a geophysical company. I was a surveyor for about a year. My previous wife's father was the vice president of the company, and he hired me on as a surveyor, which really meant I was a glorified machete swinger. I did that for a while, and then I decided it wasn't a great way to make a living. I wanted to have kids, so I went to tech school. I became an electronic tech, and that was in from 81 to 83. I got a 2-year degree in electronic technology. I got married in 84 and had kids, and I was working as a computer tech for a while and as a bartender bouncer at a nightclub. And then the economy fell apart, and I got hired on in Dallas as a computer tech. And while I was there, I went to work at a gym as a part-time evening manager of the gym, and I enjoyed the gym part a whole lot more than I did the technology part. And moved back to San Antonio in 93, right? Yeah, 93. My ex-wife left me in 91. I became a single parent of 2 girls, met my current wife, and we moved back to San Antonio in 93. And I went to work for a computer company for about 6 months and decided I really didn't want to do that anymore and started going the full-time thing. I'd been doing a lot of fitness training and, when I was in Dallas as a part-time club manager. And I decided that's what I really wanted to do. And so from about 1993 on, that's all I've done
Right.
is, work with folks in the fitness business. And when COVID hit, I needed something else to do, so I started making knives. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Were you self-taught with the knife making, or was that
Yeah,
something Dad taught you?
my dad was a knife maker,
Okay.
and he and my uncle both had gotten into making knives years ago. And I never actually saw my dad make a knife. I saw the end product, but I never saw what he did to take a knife from a blank piece of steel to an actual working knife. And so
Hmm.
I regret not ever having done that with my dad. But when it became apparent that I needed something to do because the overreaction to COVID was shutting our country down, I decided to go work on knives, and I got a pretty quick degree in YouTube University. So yeah, I learned, and in the years since 2020, I guess it was when I started, I've learned a lot just from watching YouTube and get out there and heating it and beating it and
Hmm.
experience. Yeah.
Well, you've been kind enough to gift a few of those, and I mean, the one that you gave me, that skinning knife, I guess it was 5 years ago when on our first trip down there.
Right.
That goes with me just about every trip, whether I use it or not. It's in the duffel bag, and I
Right.
just can't get over how heavy it is.
Well,
You know, it's just
when
it feels good in the hands, is what it does.
right, and that's one of the things about when you start in the knife making business. There's an old saying that you got to make 2 5-gallon buckets full of crap before you get a
Huh?
real knife out. So
Right.
that was pretty close to being the second full 5 pound bucket of crap, but it turned
I
out pretty good.
I like it. I like it, man. So you've been training all these years. You train a lot of people. What's your favorite training style? Like, what do you kind of hold your hat on when you're working with people?
Well, I've worked with the public for ever. I mean, I've worked with people, young kids as young as 5. My eldest client I ever worked with was 96. I've worked with professional athletes and college athletes and just regular folks. And the people I really like to work with the most are, I mean, it sounds cliche, but the people that really want to be there. I've got 2 clients right now that I've worked with for 34 years, 32 years. I met them in 90, I met both of them in 1994, and they're still client. One of them I work out with.
Right.
So, both of those guys, one of them is a gentleman that I diagnosed with Parkinson's 3 years ago. And the other folks I love working with are my Parkinson's clients. This is my 10th year working with the folks with Parkinson's. And, you know, my dad had Parkinson's, so it's kind of personal with them. I never got to work with my dad with Parkinson's. He didn't have an opportunity. His heart was not at the condition where he could have done the workouts. So in his honor, I work with the folks with Parkinson's, and they're wonderful people, and they're grateful, and I love them, and they're hard workers. And
Uh-huh.
the great thing is they show up on time. They're never
Yeah.
late.
They're never late. It's probably social for them too, I would imagine. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
very much so.
yeah,
Yeah, very much so.
yeah.
And I tell some really, really bad jokes, and they seem to enjoy it, so they keep coming back.
We don't have to say those jokes here, but you've also told a few in front of the boys that they like quite a bit
That's
too,
right.
right? Yeah, yeah. So,
What
like,
happens at what happens at deer camp stays at deer camp.
stays there, right? Right. So you've seen kind of a little bit of everything. I mean, you've seen what discipline does. You've seen how physical training builds mental toughness. I mean, do you talk a lot about that with your clients in terms of
But
like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
like
In
how? Like
1994, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, how do you either explain that or coach that to the people that you're working with?
Most of the folks I really don't have to.
Okay.
I try to lead by example. So everything that I ask them to do, I show them how to do it. I give them an example of how to do it, and I really overdo it. I want them to show. I'm 65 years old. I'll be 66 in September, and I want to show them that the limitations of what they can do are all in their head. So whenever I demonstrate an exercise for them, I really play it up really good. So I want them to know that they're capable. They may not know they're capable, but I know they're capable. So I play it up for them really well. But in 1994, I did a local event. I called it a strength and endurance fitness contest or something. And I had 4 categories. There were young people, 15 to 19, I think, and then 19 to 28, 28 to 45, and then 45 and up. And the great thing about that was the guy that won the overall competition, he was 63 or 64 years old. He'd had a quadruple bypass 2 years prior, and he won the overall thing. He would not quit. He had the endurance, the stamina, the mindset. And so I tell people about that. You can accomplish more up here than
Hmm.
you can with your physical body. Your body will give out long before your mind will. So you just got to tell your mind. Your mind has to tell your body, we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. We're going to keep going. So, and I try to instill that into folks, plus with a lot of humor, a lot of, joyful encouragement. And, if it's something I don't ever really ask somebody to do something that I couldn't or wouldn't do myself.
Sure.
And so I let
Sure.
them know that it's in an environment that I'm not going to get them hurt, but I want them to push themselves, to stress themselves, to a point where they can achieve something and go home and say, hey, guess what I did today.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. You actually said something to me a few years ago that I use all the time when I'm describing nutrition. And you said, I assume you remember this or use it, but you said, if it ran around or grew in the ground, eat it. And people are shocked when I talk about that. And I said, now, hang on a second. I said, a box of macaroni and cheese tastes great, but I said, can you pronounce what's in the ingredient list of that? Because I can't, right? And we have that conversation and they truly get it. That's a great philosophy. So what are some other like philosophies of fitness or life that you either subscribe to or that you're really trying to not even coach, but just I guess maybe even emulate, Steve?
Just keep it simple, keep things simple. Like we overcomplicate things as humans. It's a natural inclination just to overcomplicate things. We want to make things harder than they have to be. And we really just keep it's not that hard. You eat things like God made it, like you said, if it flies in the air, if it swims in the water, if it runs on the land, if it grows, eat it. I mean, there are no 7 Up rivers, there's no tortilla trees, there's no corn chip bushes. So just eat it like God makes it. And then the other thing is when it's working out, it ain't rocket science. It's just pick something up, control it, put something down, control it,
Hmm.
and do it again. If you're going to pick something, walk with it, control like you would when you're walking through the airport or, if you're throwing something, throw it like you would throw it if you were throwing trash away or whatever. Just
Hmm.
keep it simple. It's not that hard. I marvel because I'm an old man. I marvel at young people, that have these philosophies of you got to train for everything and you got to be prepared for everything. And I'm like, really? I'm 65. The only fights I've ever had in my life was when I was a bouncer in a bar or I did something stupid at a party and some drunk guy wanted to challenge me.
Sure.
Outside of that, I've had plenty of opportunities to be all I can be and all that garbage. And it hasn't come up. Yeah, I'm fairly prepared, but there's nothing in life really that's going to make you have to act like a Vin Diesel movie or a Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just be prepared for life, move, breathe, eat, sleep, pray, drink plenty of water, and love your wife and kids as best you can. Keep it simple. Just keep it simple.
80s movies made me believe that I was going to get in a lot more fights than I actually
Right.
have in my life.
And quicksand.
And quicksand
Quicksand was going to be a huge issue.
was going to be a major problem was quicksand. Yeah. So one of the things I really wanted to dive into is that your weekly videos that you make where you talk about life and you offer wisdom are like super inspiring. So like what inspires you to make those things? Or where do these
I,
ideas come up from?
I really don't know. I mean, you talk to my wife and she'll tell you that my mind is bizarre cycle of just weird stuff that floats around in my head. I got stuff that just floats around in my head. And every so often something will pop up and I think, I need to talk to other people about that. And I've got a YouTube channel. I haven't done any videos on there in a long time, but it's called A Minute of Pain. And I think I've got 250 videos on there about just stuff. When I was younger, I used to write a lot and I just felt compelled all this jumble that rolled around in my head. I had to get it out. And so I used to write a lot. Well, now I've got the access to video. And so it's easy for me to, primarily when I'm at my mom's, I go sit on the front porch. I got a cigar in one hand and a little glass of something adult beverage in the other
Mm-hmm.
hand. And the deer are out there and the wind's blowing. And I just talk about stuff, things that,
Right.
and really I talk to me.
Hmm.
It's on my mind. I need to hear it and I need to just express it just so it solidifies in my own mind, in my own life. So it's a easy way to, you know, kind of pass something along to somebody. I've been very blessed to, a couple of your boys have told me how much they appreciate the videos and other people have said, they're very thankful for them. So, I just, I don't know why these thoughts come into my head. I don't know where they come from, but God gives them to me, and I got to get them out. So I put them on video and put them out there, and thank God I got them. And people don't tell me what a moron I am for spitting this stuff out.
So you really don't practice these things. You're kind of in the moment and it hits your heart and you just start talking, huh?
I do let it roll around in my head a few days,
Yeah.
typically. Now, sometimes I just get this thought, I happen to be out there and something will come in my mind and I go, I need to put that on film. But a lot of times something will come up and I'll hear somebody talk about something online or
Mhm.
a conversation I had at the gym or whatever. And it just kind of rolls around and evolves into this whatever topic, that comes about. And sometimes it's a culmination of several topics that all kind of just meld together. So, yeah, I really don't. Living in the moment is something I have struggled with most of my life, but occasionally I do find that gumption to do something like that. So, you know what? But one of
Yeah.
the things I want to
Yeah.
thank you about, talk about living in the moment. This past year when you came down and the guys came down for turkey season, one of the most special moments for me was when you and I sat out on the porch and just smoked cigars and
Mhm.
talked,
Yep.
in the moment,
Yep.
that to me, because I don't have sons, and I'm not saying that you're young enough to be my son, but you are. But it's an opportunity just to sit and just be in the moment and reflect on life and just talk guy stuff and
Yep.
and do guy stuff. And I and
Yep.
I I I love that. I miss that. For me, on a hunting trip, I haven't really hunted per se in probably 5 years.
Mhm.
I have opportunities to get wild game through other sources. I'm happy to have it. I mean, I got an opportunity to go helicopter hog hunting about 3 years ago, and if you ever get a chance, that's a lot of fun.
Do that.
But
Yeah.
for me, the biggest part at this age, I say, the biggest part of the hunting trip is just the people, and I love to cook. And for me to serve a good meal, to sit around the table with guys I love and enjoy,
Mhm.
and talk and laugh and just enjoy good food. To me, that's the blessing.
Well,
I couldn't ask for anything more.
I told Jim, on the way home, Jim Richmond of Jim Richmond Outdoors, on the way home, I said, "I missed my other son being there." But I said, "Of the 5 years now that we've done this," I said, "this was my favorite trip, and I'll tell you why." We get there, we Justin and I tag birds pretty quickly. And after that, we fished. You and I went up and sat in the blind for a while. I took Jim's son and we walked around that entire ranch and we had opportunities, or we had birds working. I and even going back to what you just said, sitting there on the porch, it was the first time, even coming down to visit you, that I think I was in the moment 100% of the time that I was there. That I truly unwound date the moment we stepped on, and I left there not sad. I left there feeling fantastic. Like let's go back and let's build whatever we're gonna build, do whatever we're gonna do, and that was a blessing right there because I am so high strung and I do tend to live always thinking about what's next. To have that peace for just that 48 to 72 hours or whatever it was pretty important.
Yeah.
Real important. So, Jim,
I'm
go ahead.
the first year you and Jim came down,
Huh?
and my favorite of the whole weekend while y'all were there was the last day when we cooked those duck breasts
Oh,
and
yeah.
the stuffed pork, and we
Mm-hmm.
all sat there and we were just so satisfied at
Yep.
the end of that meal.
Yep.
And then the evening was perfect. The food was good, and it was a great culmination of a great weekend.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I mean, speaking of that trip, I mean, Jim and I had no idea what to expect when
right,
we were rolling into town. We didn't know what we were looking at, but I mean, I gained a lot of it just being around you, and that's what motivated me to bring my kids. And now Jim has brought Easton down there. We want them to be around you. We want to soak up your wisdom, and I think the thing is that, man, you take a lot of people hunting. You give a lot of yourself. I mean, what motivates you to give back like that?
it's just the way I'm made. It's the way God made me. My dad was a giving individual 1,000 years ago. I remember watching a Jerry Lewis telethon, and he talked about, somebody asked him, "Why do you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you do this?" And his answer kind of shocked me and enlightened me. He said, "It's selfish. I do it for the way it makes me feel. And that's pretty much it. I
Hmm.
enjoy so much giving. You know, become a knife maker, and I probably give away more knives than I ever sell,
Yourself,
just
right?
because I enjoy, the giving people things. I enjoy doing stuff for other people. It's fun. It's rewarding. It allows me to just feel this need
Hmm.
to see enjoyment and love and create friendships. Really, I've done a lot of hunts with combat veterans, and the ability to do something for someone that can't pay you back.
Hmm.
The ability to give somebody an opportunity at something that they probably wouldn't have in their daily life, and to open people up to experiences that will help them grow in other ways. People that have never been hunting, take them out on a hunting trip, and then they're like, man, this is really a lot of fun. I get to meet really cool people. I get to eat well. I get to sleep in this awesome place. I get to go chase these animals and fish these ponds and see these different parts of the country. It's exciting and it's fun and it's rewarding and it's fulfilling. So it's just and the great thing is I get to do it with people I like, you know, and you bringing your boys down, Jim bringing his son down. I mean, they're just, things like that. It's hard to describe how rewarding, fulfilling, wonderful that is, even though I give the boys a hard time.
Yeah. Well, you've done something. Well, you did it with Jim and I too, just to be fair. But you did something. You've done something with each of the boys that I think it's almost like a rite of passage, and you've done it with all three of them. And the moment they walk in, you'll shake their hand and you hand them a knife, and they think that's the coolest thing in the entire world, and it is, right? I mean, they're out there skinning deer and whatnot, and I'm sure when Easton gets his opportunity, same thing, right? He'll use that knife because it's special. Right, it isn't something that
Oh,
you
yeah,
went and bought off a shelf. I mean, this is something that someone took the time to make for you. And I mean, you walk in those places that we've been, and that's just a gift enough. But then to walk away with maybe some meat or, some pictures and those memories. But now you've got this thing that you can take back. It's just like, your audad or
right,
these antlers. I mean, the memories there, right? And that's the coolest thing. That's absolutely cool.
right,
Yeah.
right.
If you could speak directly to any young person then and give them advice to live a life well lived, what would the things that you would be talking to kids about?
You know, First thing is biblically seek first the kingdom of God. Second thing is love people. You know, Life is hard. Don't be a jerk. Love people. You never know what somebody's going through. Years ago, when I was probably 15 years old, maybe 16, I was watching a Cincinnati Reds baseball game. And at the end of the game, Sparky Anderson came on and he was giving a synopsis of the game. And he told, all about the plays and blah, blah, blah. And at the end, he said, and remember, it doesn't cost a dime to be nice. And I thought, that's pretty dang good advice. And so I adopted that philosophy of just be nice to people. And I've kind of since reformed it to be kind. Be kind to people. Being nice is one thing, but being kind to people. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know how hard somebody's life is. You never know what experiences they're going through, and they never know what you're going through. But if you're just kind to people, if you're kind to animals, if you're kind to, just be kind. Life is so much easier. You go through life, you make great friends. Life just isn't nearly as hard, and just serve people. You know, Zig Ziglar used to say, "You can have anything in life you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want." And so you just serve people, and it all comes back to you.
Yeah.
Look at the Malachi, on tithing. You
Uh-huh.
know, you give and it comes back, pressed down, shaken, and overflowing. So
Tenfold. Yeah.
yeah,
It
right,
you brought something up that I was thinking about a lot, and even like you specifically, because like in a world that is right or left, okay, labeled whatever you want to call it, I know you, and I think there's folks that would look at you with that Texas drawl and those snake boots and that AR and that knife on your belt, and they're going to start labeling you. They're going to, and it probably would assume things, right? Intolerant, insensitive, or worse. And you're none of those. I mean, so I think, you treat people exceptionally well, and all of the things that you just said, most utmost importance, be kind. And I think that shocks people. At times, they think that someone that looks like that or this is going to be this way. And I think maybe it was Phil Robertson that said this, or he said something like this. I don't have to agree with you, but that doesn't mean that I don't love or like you. There's two differences right here. And so I think more of what you said is more of what we need out here. I really do.
My brother is a karate instructor, and he had a
Hmm.
karate school here in town for 31 years.
Right.
And he used to do these women's self-defense courses.
Hmm.
Now, back 25 years ago, I had a dark goatee, shaved my head, I had earrings,
Hmm.
and my brother looks like me, but nothing like me. He's very unassuming. He used to be a member of the Rape Crisis Center, and he would go in and console these people. If I were to walk in there, they would go, "It's him, that's him."
Hmm.
My brother would
Right.
my brother would have these women's self defense courses,
Uh-huh.
and he would call me up and say, "Hey, have you got your goatee and your beard, or your goatee and your earrings?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I need you to come play a bad guy." I said,
Jeez.
"Why?" He said, "Because you look like a thug." I go, "Well, thanks a lot, dude.
Thanks, brother. Right. Right.
I know I look like that. I can't help it."
Yeah. That's
So,
funny.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
funny.
looks can be deceiving, and it's always been I wouldn't say deceiving, but yeah, I have been accused of looking like Sergeant Rock, or some hardcore military guy, and I'm the guy that cries at Mastercard commercials,
Right.
so
Right. You're sensitive. That's what it is.
yeah, right.
That's what it is. All right, I'm going to shoot some fast ones your way here. You tell me what you got on this one here. So, what is your favorite exercise?
I like Bulgarian squats.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
I love Bulgarian squats.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I really I it's a sickness. I've always liked them. My training partner hates them, and
Huh?
that's probably why I like them more. Now, granted, he's 72. He just turned 72.
Right?
So to hear him complain about him gives me great joy.
That's
So
funny. In your opinion, what's the most underrated exercise?
probably ab rollouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of things that people talk about doing crunches or all crunches or what. You get them on it's almost like a deadlift. You get them on an ab rollout, and they go, "Oh my god, this hurts so bad," because yeah, trying to just stabilize the lumbar spine through movement. Anybody can plank. Planking is that's a beginner move. Yeah, add some movement in there in
Yeah.
that plank position. Yeah, he gets a lot more. It's a lot more rigid at
It
that point.
hurts. It hurts. I think I know
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's your favorite food?
Say again.
What's your favorite food?
I really like anything I cook.
Mhm.
There's something involving venison. Primarily, I love chili.
Okay.
I love chili, but pizza. I'm a freaking fool for pizza.
Okay.
A good quality pizza. Yeah, I turn into a blithering idiot.
Was wrong. I was going to say breakfast burritos, but okay,
You
pizza
know,
it is. Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty dang good, but they involve a lot of the same ingredients.
Right. Right.
Without the tomato paste.
What's the favorite wild game meat?
It's either Axis or elk.
I figured it'd be
It's
Axis. Yeah.
Axis is pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
Wild pork is pretty dang good too
Yes, it is. Yep.
when it's done right, and if it's come from the right ranch.
Hmm.
If you got a ranch where they have protein and corn feeders on them, oh yeah,
Good
that's
stuff.
dang good.
Yeah.
I've eaten pork off a ranch where they just had to find what they find. Not
Not as
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Stink pig is what we called it.
Stink pig. What is the toughest hunt that you've been on?
The toughest hunt.
The toughest.
I back in about 2014, I
Hmm.
hunted on a ranch where we took a lot of combat veterans, and there was one particular deer that I've never been an antler hunter. I didn't, to me, I'm just not a trophy antler hunter kind of guy. But there was this one deer, he was just unique. He had 8 points, but he had no brow tines. But he had these G1 or G2s that were like 11 inches long. He wasn't real wide, but he was freaky looking.
Okay.
And I wanted to hunt that guy. And so I first saw him during archery season in October of that year. I killed him in January.
Wow.
and I hunted him every other weekend,
Right.
and I he it's like he knew I was there. I would go to one area of the ranch, and the guys would tell me he's over here, and I'd go to that area ranch, and they say he's back over here.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and the day I got him, I crawled up into my stand and I sat down and I kind of got situated. I looked up and there he was,
Just
and
like
it
that.
wasn't like it wasn't anything magical. It was just one of those things, and I almost didn't shoot him just because it was too easy. And but yeah, I got him. But yeah, I mean, it's not like I've really ever had to stalk something
Hmm.
or turkey hunting was a challenge for me because I didn't know anything about it. You are the one that really kind of got me started in the whole turkey hunting thing. So the first couple times I went out and tried to call, and it was embarrassment, and I sounded like some juvenile turkey that had been drinking Mogan David all night long,
Right. Right. Right.
and the hens were over in the corner laughing at me. But once I kind of got it figured out, and the first time I called a turkey in, it was like, that was nirvana.
It's cool.
It was freaking cool, and
It's
I've
cool.
been hooked ever since, yeah.
It's cool.
So,
What's last one here? What's the best piece of hunting advice you've ever received?
I say that again,
What's the best piece of hunting advice that you've ever received?
be still,
Be still.
be still, yeah. Quit moving around, don't, talking's one thing, talking in a whisper, everybody knows that, but
Yeah.
be still. Everything you hunt out there is, based on movement. They all live off of, they get movement and hunts over, so
Hmm.
just be still. Don't squirrel around, and be patient. That's easier said than done oftentimes. And another thing is really give it 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Just 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of the hunts I've been on with these combat vets, my grandson, a lot
Hmm.
of people, it's getting near shooting or getting to the end of shooting light. They say, well, just 5 more minutes, 5 more. And it's like right at that time, magic happens.
Yep.
The
Yep.
world opens up and it just right at the last light,
Yep.
boom. Yeah.
There it is. Hey, you make knives and you do all kinds of cool stuff. How do people find you if they want a knife?
I have a Facebook page called Payne Handcrafted Knives. You can email me, majorpayne143 at Gmail. Outside of that, they can call me if they want.
Gotcha.
I can give you my phone number. You can put it in the,
Put it in the show notes. Yep. We'll do it.
yeah. Or they can come to Texas and come to my shop and they can make a knife with me.
That's the next thing we got to do, right? So,
Right.
yep.
Right.
Steven, what time are you getting up tomorrow morning?
4 a.m.
All right. Well, it's well after it's getting late on you. So, hey, I would do this all night if I could. I appreciate you so much. I love you, man, and thank you for being here and all you do for us. We really are grateful.
Well, thank you, brother. I love you and all your family.
All right, man. Thank you, bud. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bro. Bye, everybody.
Our annual trip to Texas has become way more than a turkey hunt for me. It's a time where I engulf myself in the wisdom and hospitality that Steve offers. And like he said, while chasing critters is a blast, the best times are after dinner with a glass of bourbon and a cheap cigar, pondering life. I I absolutely treasure those moments, and I look forward to many more in the future. Now's the time of the show where I typically will talk about one of our product partners. But today, I'm going to give all of them some love. One thing that I'm very proud of with this company is we know, like, and trust every product that we promote. Yes, we do earn revenue from product sales, but we do not pitch or promote a product that we do not love and use ourselves. So let's start with the title sponsor, Wilderness Athlete. Right now, I use multiple products from their line, but the one that I'm going to really hammer home right now is their Hydrate and Recover. That particular product for summertime activity is incredible, and it's literally brought me back from the brink of heat illness. I got hot 2 times working on the farm over the last several years. Mistake on my part. But the one thing that kept me from going to the hospital was that hydrate and recover packet. So again, that's something that I would highly encourage you to look at. Last week on the farm, we were finishing up a little bit of overseeding for the summer, and it started to rain on us. And it's pretty funny because Justin, Jack, and I were out there, and we actually climbed up in our Maverick blind. So a blind that's used for hunting became a impromptu storm shelter, and I just can't get over how much I love this. Now the thing about it, it's super affordable. I I would never have picked up a blind like this on my own if I had gone for one of the more higher dollar units. I wouldn't have done it. The Maverick product line is sturdy, easy to put together, cost effective, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're just going to absolutely love it. You know, if you've been hunting in a pop up line, right, and you're wanting something that either keeps the weather off of you or honestly, they're pretty warm. I would encourage you to check them out. Hitless Seed is another great partner. I'm going to tell you right now, the fall blend that we put out on the majority of our plots that we turn over year, we just seeded again with buckwheat and milo, and it fed deer all winter long. The cereal rye we terminated, and now it's laying down, just like what you see on Growing Deer TV. It's providing slow release fertilizer. It retains moisture into the soil, which is pretty thin and rocky there, and it's going to be a weed mat. It's fantastic. I don't like messing with herbicide. This product line has given me what I've needed so far to make sure my deer and turkey have food and that we're building soil health. Big deal. And then last but not least is game cuffs. I tell you what, we have a set for dragon bucks, and I've got a set for, they call them fowl cuffs for turkey or ducks. Um, you could lift up the back end of a Volkswagen with these things. They are so tough. They're lightweight, American made, inexpensive. Get a set for your pack. I'm telling you right now, if you deer hunt in places where you need to drag a deer, this is so much easier than trying to reach down and grab antlers. Give them a look. Now you can learn more about each of these companies and their product lines with promotional codes by visiting our partner page at www.stayfittohunt.com. Well, that's it for this month. I really hope that you have enjoyed conversation with Steve. Um, when I met him in person 5 years ago, I didn't know what to expect when we pulled in on that ranch. And he has become a friend, a mentor. Um, I'm not kidding when I say that the knife he built me is one of those knives that I take with me on every hunting trip. And I purposefully took both of my sons and continue to take my sons on this trip, expense and all, because they need to be around guys like Steve. You're just a better person for it. Listen, we appreciate you listening, downloading, sharing this show. Um, Much like with our clients, we live and die off of the referral. And the fact that you continue to listen month in, month out, follow us on social, um, we really do appreciate you. So we hope that you're enjoying what we do. Stay tuned for some really cool guests as we continue to work through our summer episodes and hopefully give you some content that's going to help you get ready for fall. So as always, thanks for listening. Have a great day. And as always, you stay fit to hunt.